Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unboxed. We're glad you chose to join us. Last few times that we were together, I told you that workplace relationships are just as emotionally significant as family relationships. I explained that many people spend more awake time at workplaces than with their biological families. Also, another thing that's very important to remember is that workplace relationships play a significant role in our self-esteem. This is why they have such an emotional impact upon us, because they play a role in our self-esteem, and they also play a role in our financial survival. And survival is the key, and survival is what really rolls us emotionally. And the last time that we were here, the last broadcast, I shared that a secret to successful family or workplace relationships is the ability to maintain one-to-one relationships with all the emotionally significant people in the relationship system. And I defined what emotionally significant was. And what is it? Emotionally significant relationships are relationships that have the greatest impact on our feelings, thoughts, responses, and reactions. That's right. Emotionally significant relationships are relationships that have the greatest impact on our feelings, thoughts, responses, and reactions. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to explore the dangers and pitfalls of bringing in others to help us manage relationship difficulties. Stick around as we unbox your leadership by unboxing relationships. I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach, and welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life. All right. Welcome. Thank you for joining us again. Before we get started, do me a favor. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. That's right. Like, subscribe, and share. And if you're listening to this podcast, the website that you want to check out is www.swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org. And there you can see all of our social media handles, can follow us and get a lot of additional information about how to build up your leadership, as well as the wonderful things that we're doing in the community. Now, remember what I shared yesterday. I've done a little recap. I'm going to go deeper into it today. I'm going to go even deeper tomorrow. There are 5. Remember I shared this with you. There are 5 predictable ways that we manage relationship difficulties. And just like last time, as I go through these 5 techniques, I want you to think about the ways you have used these approaches in the past to manage relationship difficulties of your own. The first one is direct conflict. That's one of the ways that we manage relationship difficulties. Direct conflict, that's arguing, lecturing, threatening, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, you want to fight? Is that what you want? All right, you got it. The second way is distance. And when you take distance to its farthest extreme, that's cut off. So distancing, which is, you know what? I'm just going to avoid it. I'm going to get away from it. I'm going to not have anything to do with it. Or I'm just going to cut them off altogether. You're dead to me kind of thing. That's one of the ways that people manage relationship difficulties. Another one is pursuing. The difficulties arise. Let me see if I can't hound this person, pursue them, ask them, hey, what's wrong? Let's work this out, please, kind of thing. It's kind of like me at the prom. Please go to the prom with me. I love you. I'll do right. I'll change. I'll do what I'm supposed to. The other way, number 4, is triangling others into the difficulty. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a second. And then the 5th one is overfunctioning. And what is overfunctioning? Overfunctioning is doing for others what they should and could do for themselves. What they could and should do for themselves. That's overfunctioning. And so oftentimes, we'll sit up there and in order to get things done, rather than allowing other people to do what they're responsible for, to carry out their responsibility, we do it for them because it's too difficult to approach them, to hold them accountable, etc. So instead, we overfunction and do it for them. So these are the 5 ways that we manage relationship difficulties. I want to go back to that quote that I shared yesterday. That really does cue up what we're going to talk about today. It says, when any leader can accurately observe what is going on in the relationship system, as well as the part that they play in it, when they can control their own emotional reactions, when they can avoid counterattacking when they're provoked, and when they, here's the key part now, can maintain an active relationship with the other members of the system, the entire system will change in a series of predictable steps. When they can maintain a one-to-one relationship in both family, catch this now, in both family and workplace relationships, too many leaders manage relationship difficulties by bringing in a third person. And this phenomenon is known as triangling. What do you mean triangling? Triangling is when I have a relationship with a person and it becomes too difficult for me to manage. Anxiety, tension, stress, whatever word you want to use, any kind of difficulty begins to arise. Then what I do is I bring in a third person or a third thing. I'm not going to get to the thing today. I'm just going to talk about person. So I bring someone else in. How do you bring someone else in? You bring someone else in through gossiping. You bring someone else in through talking about people. You bring someone else in by, having them to be the referee or the mediator. And I want you to understand, I'm not talking about you going to see a therapist or a coach or something of that nature, and you're talking through the challenges, and this professional who is specifically hired for the sake of helping you to think through various problems, you're thinking through with them. No, I'm talking about people that ain't got nothing to do with it from that perspective. Instead of you having a direct one-to-one relationship with the person that you're having the challenge with, you are instead leaning on or bringing somebody else into it, whether it's with the person's knowledge or behind that difficulty, the person you're having a difficulty with behind their back. So simply put, this is how it works. It's too difficult to manage a one-to-one relationship with this person, so I need someone else to help me to carry the load. But let me tell you two of the problems with triangling. We're bringing other people into it. The problem with triangling others into our relationship difficulties is that it diminishes our ability to be our best selves in all interactions. In other words, by bringing someone else in, whenever I'm having a difficulty with one person, classic example is this right here. I'm having a difficulty with the chairman. If you're a nonprofit leader, you're having a difficulty with the chairperson of your board. And so rather than having that one-to-one relationship with them, there's another person on the board that I'm friends with. And so I can kind of talk about how the chairperson is getting on my nerves, or I'm having someone who, one of my coworkers, one of my equals, a director of another department, who I'm having challenges with. So I tell one of my friends that's a director of another department about that person, how they're obnoxious, how they get on my nerves. And what ends up happening is, rather than gaining the skills that are necessary to have conversations and interactions with the person that I perceive to be, causing the problem or that I'm having the difficulty with, I end up allowing a third person to become a crutch, which diminishes my ability to be able to manage relationship challenges. The other problem is that triangling does the opposite of what it is intended to do. In other words, what I mean by that is, instead of helping you to manage the anxiety of the relationship, that's the reason why we triangle people in. It's too difficult for us to manage. Anxiety gets too high. Stress gets too tense. Instead of helping to manage the anxiety of the relationship, it spreads the anxiety to other people. So what it does is it begins to work like a contagious disease. So now I'm the only one that has the disease. And rather than me working on it, I go coughing that disease onto other people. And by coughing onto them, rather than it removing the disease from me, it just means now that somebody else has the disease. And then that person, because of the challenge, is more than likely going to bring another person in and going to continue to spread it. And this is one of the ways that anxiety spreads throughout the system, is that one person gets to a place where they can't manage it. They bring someone else in the relationship system in. It becomes tense, and then they again continue to, that ball continues to roll, and that disease continues to spread until it infects and affects the entire relationship system. And that is why many workplaces are highly anxious. That, you talk about, oh, they're so competitive and backbiting and backstabbing and all that stuff, because we as leaders create that atmosphere by not maintaining one-to-one relationships. And so at Unboxed, we encourage leaders to think through what a one-to-one relationship looks like. We also encourage leaders to think through how they need to show up to foster and to facilitate a one-to-one relationship. And the next time that we meet, we're going to talk about how that looks in real life, how it looks to think through, and how it looks to foster and to show up in order to facilitate one-to-one relationships. As I shared the last time, the most important part of being an emotionally mature leader who fosters emotionally mature relationships is maintaining one-to-one relationships with all the emotionally significant members of the system. And this is how we unbox our leadership, by unboxing our relationships. Take care.
Seasons of Grace Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.